Yes.
They're ready. So taking one to do. I don't know.
Wait, mommy.
Upstairs.
Okay. Go do good listening and go to sleep.
You can listen to. Stay. Thank you. I'm great.
What's Eshet?
What?
Share.
Eshet Moshe. Sikor
Kohen Media.
Hen. Titra.
Koten Moshe.
Kohen.
Koten Moshe.
Titra.
Daniel, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, one second. That's Daddy's rap.
Anybody?
Who is there? Please go to the Shaarei Tzion number 5505174985. Salim Bambaji fixed my, this way I'm hooked to Shaarei Tzion. It's being recorded. People that would like to hear it another time can hear it.
Yeah, perfect.
Look a second on page 292, the beginning of the parasha. Ve'ele Shemot Bnei Israel, we have a list of the names. After we list all the Shevatim, it says, Vayehi kol nefesh, Pasuk Hey, Vayehi kol nefesh, Yosei Yerech Yaakov Shivim nefesh, ויוסף היה במצרים, הוא 10 התנגן. So look at the Rashi. והלא הוא בניו היו בכלל ה-70. When the Pasuk says that 70 people came originally to Egypt, includes Yosef, Ephraim, and Menashe. Why is the Torah saying here Yosef היה במצרים? Rashi says, והלא הוא בניו היו בכלל 70, ומה בא ללמדנו? וכי לא היינו יודעים שהוא היה במצרים? אלא להודיעך צדקתו של יוסף. הוא יוסף הרואה את צאן אביו, הוא יוסף שהיה במצרים, ונעשה מלך. The Torah wants to emphasize, here is Yosef, the same innocent, righteous man being a shepherd by his father, through all these years. Remember, Yosef was a king for 80 years. He remained the same person. The obvious question is, if the Torah wants to praise Yosef, why is it written in the beginning of Sefer Shemot? We read last week in Perashat Vayechi, at the end of the parasha, that Yosef died at the age of 110. Rabotai, please go to the Shaarei Tzion 5505174985. Go to Shaarei Tzion's number 550-5179-74985. Riti, every night we are on the Sharei Tzion number now. Unless the Sharei Tzion is not working, we're here. So the obvious question is, why is the Torah telling me here? Why is the Torah telling me here that Yosef Haya b'Mitzrayim, how righteous he was? Tell it to me at the end of Sefer Bereshit. Guys, you can hear me and see me, yes?
Yes.
Good. Say the commentator something very deep. Here is the beginning of the actual Galut. And as we know, even though many people strayed away, many people didn't stay exactly with the Jewish community, but no one's wife had a relationship with another guy except one woman who was raped by an Egyptian. But the rest were pure. What kept the purity of the people in Mitzrayim? Say the commentator, this is why the Torah chose to write here, Yosef Haya b'Mitzrayim, to teach us here. This is the man, the Kedusha that Yosef brought into Mitzrayim, the fact that he was able to control his desires through the years before he was married, 12 years. This is what gave the inner power to the Jewish people. As a matter of fact, the Mishkan Shiloh was built on the land that belongs to Yosef. The Mishkan was there for 368 years. The Mishkan of Shiloh had one advantage that Yerushalayim didn't have. Or what is that? Even if you are 5 miles away from Shiloh, as long as you can see Shiloh, you can eat the Korban. In Yerushalayim, you can eat the Korban only within the wall. Why is that? Because Yosef guarded his eyes. Banot tza'ada alei shur, yes? All the girls wanted to look at him. He didn't look at them. The Mishkan that was built on his piece of land had the same type of Kedusha. So this is why Yosef Haya b'Mitzrayim is written here to show you the power, yes, of Yosef to influence others, not only supporting others, yeah. If you pay attention to the pasuk, look at, we are in the beginning of the parasha. It says Yosef died. Remember, Yosef died close to 50 years after his father, yes? Yosef was 30 when he became a king. The 7 good years, 37. 2 more years of famine, 39. This is when his father comes down, and Yaakov lived in Egypt 17. 39 and 17 is 46.
56.
Yosef died at the age of 110, yeah? Over 50 years. Only after Yosef and his brother died, then the Jewish people pay attention to the text. ובני ישראל פרו וישרצו וירבו ויעצמו במאוד מאוד ותמלא הארץ אותם. Say the commentators, the original place for the Jewish people to be was Goshen. And everyone stayed in Goshen and not spread all over the country. They wouldn't have to undergo such suffering for 86 years. The Leviim stayed in Goshen. The Leviim fulfilled the Gezerah v'avadum v'inu otam without physical labor. You know what the Zohar says? Ba'avodah kasha b'chomer u'belevenim, says the Zohar b'kal v'chomer Gezerah shava. What does it mean? The Leviim chose to be in Galut in Goshen, the Jewish ghetto. Those Vatimale Haaretz Otam, then Vayakam Melech Chadash al Mitzrayim, a new king comes up with new ideas. See, the root of the evil that Paro demonstrated lies. The Midrash says that the Egyptian came to him and complained. And Paro says, listen, Yosef gave us all the power, the wealth. We are the strongest country because of him. How can we enslave or make any decree on the Jews? The Midrash says they took him off his crown and he came back. The Rambam in Ilchot Yeshuvah says, why is Paro being punished? Because Hashem never said they have to go to Egypt. Here, Paro is the one that decides to do it. He is the one that is going to suffer the makot. Yitro was one of the three advisors of Paro. Paro is the king. Yitro, Iyov, and Bilam. The Gemara tells us that Yitro defected. He didn't want to vote for this decree to enslave the Jews. Rabbi Kamenetsky says the reason why Yitro merited to have a son-in-law by the name of Moshe is, look at him. He was one of the three advisors of Paro. He gives up his position and he goes away to Midian. Later in the Perasha, when Moshe is a fugitive, and the Midrash says that Paro sent all over the country to look for Moshe. And Paro, Yitro, out of Hakarat Tov to Moshe, because he was helping his daughters, tells his daughter, Kir'en lo v'yochal lechem. Which means Yitro had this strong midah of Hakarat Tov. Rabbi Kamenetsky said that this is the reason why he merited to be the father-in-law of Moshe, because if you have this midah in a big way, you can never be a bad person, because constantly you see the good around you, constantly you see the good that people do to you, the good that Hashem does with us.
Mehila, Rabbi, was Yitro really a Midian, or was he an Egyptian that ran away, became the priest of Midian?
It's a good question. It doesn't say anywhere where he originated, but it says openly that he was in Egypt when Paro made the decree.
Right.
This is later in Perashat Yitro when when the Jewish people came out, and Yitro comes and he listens to all the miracles that happened. This is Vayichad Yitro. Yitro felt bad what happened to the Egyptians. Why did he feel bad? Because he spent many years there, yeah? And he felt that he's part of the... Here he is, he gave up powerful position because he believed that what's being done is incorrect. Anyway, slowly the Egyptians are starting to... First, they have to build for us. Then, Avodat Perach, remember it. in the beginning, you have to build two major cities, Pitom and Ramses. Then much harder, much harsher. So look a second in 294. ויאמר מלך מצרים למיילדות העבריות, אשר שם האחת שפרה ושם השני תפועה. Why is the Torah emphasizing that he approached the Jewish midwives? So there are many, the Rishonim discuss it. This week we said a very interesting Perashat. Paro knows that for Bnei Noach, for Nohites, for Egyptian, to kill a baby right before he comes out is a full-fledged murder. For Jews, it's not as a full-fledged murder. So he says to the Jewish Meyaldot, you do it. For you, it's not as big Avera as mine. And of course, when Paro is doing it, he's not offering them lollipops if they do it. It says, ותראינה המילדות את האלוהים ולא עשו כאשר דיבר עליהם מלך מצרים. He was threatening them. They didn't budge. Again, here it is. It says, if we do it, it's a full-fledged murder. If you do it, and I'm threatening you, you wouldn't be as, your sin would not be as big. Nevertheless, the Pasuk is telling us, ותראינה המילדות את האלוהים. You realize this is two ladies standing up. Now, if you pay attention to the Pasuk says, first it tells the Jewish midwives to kill the Jewish babies. If you look at 296, the Pasuk says, ויצב פרעה לכל עמו.
The best thing that he's playing against later in Chicago.
What is lechol amo? Rashi says,
Montreal will be a great test on Saturday.
someone please be on mute, because if you're not on mute, we hear the conversation that you have. Lechol amo, Rashi says, the astrologist told him that the Jewish baby, the Jewish savior of the Jews was born. This is Moshe. They couldn't tell if he's born to a Jewish or non-Jewish mother, because right away, Bat Paro is taking him. So Vayetzav Paro lechol amo, even Egyptian babies. Kol haben ha'ilod ha'yor tashlichu. How long was the decree of killing the babies? Commentators say basically 3 months. Why 3 months? She, the mother of Moshe, gave birth to an early birth, 6 months and 1 day. After 3 months, the Pasuk says, she couldn't hide him in the house anymore. She took him to the Nile. The Egyptians, astrologist, told Paro, he is in the water. He was in the water, in the Teva. So now, look a second how things are spinning out if Hashem wants it to work, yes? Paro, you are afraid for one kid. You are willing to kill hundreds of innocent babies. Meantime, your own daughter is the one who is saving him. If you think about it, it's against all the odds. She's adopting him as a kid. She's adopting him as a king. Let's read what exactly happens. Look at 296. וילך איש מבית לוי, this is Amram. ויקח את בת לוי, he returns his wife, they were separated. Because during the decree, he didn't feel that there is a point of having children. She becomes pregnant. She gives birth to a child, to a ben. She's hiding him 3 months in the house. She cannot hide him anymore. Why? Because the Egyptians followed her from the beginning of the pregnancy. This is how they found out who was a baby. She puts him in the Nile. ותתעצב אחותו מרחוק לדעה מה יעשה לו. His sister is standing. What is she standing there? The Gemara says she knows that her brother would be saved. She wants to know who and how, not if. Because if the Gemara says that she had the prophecy as a young girl, the prophecy would be fulfilled. Now imagine, look at the pasuk. ותתעצב אחותו מרחוק לדעה מה יעשה לו. She's standing. ותרד בת פרעה לרחוץ על היאור ונערותיה הולכות על יד היאור. Imagine when the sister Miriam saw the princess approaching, what did she have in her mind? Hashem blind her, give her a stroke, heart attack. If she finds my brother, she will definitely kill him. And here, this woman that you are convinced is going to kill your brother, she has mercy on him, she is adopting him, she lets you invite the mother of the baby, she pays for the nursing. This is only if you believe that there is a master plan. It's against all the odds. And he didn't have a dark complexion. What did people think in the palace? Nothing. The princess loves him. She adopted him.
Rabbi,
Yeah, yes, I'm listening, yes.
do we know anything else about Batia or Bitia from?
What we know more about her, the Gemara in Megillah talks about her, but the bottom line is she got married later, and in other books, in Divrei Hayamim, it says the names of their children. But here's the point. I mean, remember, this is not in the text. The Zohar says that because of what she did, she has the right to see Moshe once a week. If you really want to see what this woman is being rewarded, after Moshe's mother is nursing him for 2 years, look a second on this page 296. Vayigdal hayelad, the mother was loyal. After 2 years, she brings him back. V'teviyehu lebat Paro vayehila leben. The pasuk says she's adopting him as a son. V'tikra et shmo Moshe, v'tomer ki min hamayim eshitihu. I pulled him out of the water, so she called him Moshe. Here says the Midrash Rabbah, the Gemara tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu had 7 names. And the Gemara in Megillah takes every name, and the Gemara shows that those names are after his achievements. So from all the Midrash says, from all the 7 names, the Torah chose to keep the name of Moshe that she gave him. Says the Midrash, Bo ure'ei kama gadol scharam shel gomrei chasadim. From all the 7 names, the one that she gave stayed with him. Rabbi Shmulevitz is adding to it, Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz, something very fascinating. Basically, she sacrificed her life when she did it. Because saving a Jewish baby is against the law. Bringing him into the palace, and your father is so afraid, and he's the one. Says Rabbi Shmulevitz, this is what the Midrash means, that he kept his name. He kept his name to remind himself, a woman went on Mesirut Nefesh to save me because she understood it is unjust to kill innocent people. And you know, she brings the opinion that when she came to the Nile, she came to convert. Because otherwise, מה זה ותרד בת פרעה לרחוץ על היאור? She's a princess. Her father is a powerful king. She doesn't have private swimming pools. She has to go to the Hudson River to swim. לא כתוב לשחות, לרחוץ, to wash herself.
Well, the sin and the samach are mischalfos, right?
Well, אמרתי לך, but to be honest, one opinion in the Midrash is that she became a tzorat. She had a skin disease, and she went here to cure herself. But tachmol alav, I mean, if you think about it, yes? Vatomer miyaldei ha'ivrim zeh, yes? If you read the text, she opens, she saw the child, והנה נער בוכה. Nar is a teenager. Yeled is a baby, tinok. What is Moshe, Yeled or Nar? Okay, so you know all this, who give the Rashot say, of course he was a child, and the cry that she heard, the cry of Moshe is the cry of the Jewish people from all the generations, fine. But the Baal HaTurim brings a fascinating midrash, but look at the text. ותפתח ותראהו, she saw the baby, ותראה את הילד. והנה, then she notices, נער בוכה. Who is the נער? Aaron, you hear? So this Yalkut Shimoni learns, not that והנה נער בוכה goes back to Moshe, then we have a contradiction, is he a נער or ילד? She saw Aaron, ותאמר, מילדי העברים זה, how did she know that he is Jewish? There are many pshatim. One of the pshatim is when she saw another kid crying for his brother, ותאמר מילדי העברים הזה. By Jews, one person cries for his friend. You hear? When she saw Aaron crying, ותאמר מילדי העברים הזה. But this is, remember, this is Drush Mamash. We never pay attention, but now that she brings him to the palace, yes? The Ramban says that when he came out to assist, to feel the pain of his brothers, the Ramban says he was under 20. So from the age of 2 till his teen years, he is being raised there, says Ibn Ezra. In retrospect, Hashem sent him to a college to learn political science, yes? When he kills the Egyptian, there is a very interesting Rashi, because it says, when he's about to kill the Egyptian, it says, "Vayifem ko v'cho vayar ki einish." So the simple pshat is, he's not afraid. He's afraid that if other Egyptian agents will see him, they might, pull him to the authorities. Rashi says, "Vayifem ko v'cho." Rashi says, he realized what this Egyptian did to the wife of this husband. He raped his wife, and Rashi then, מה פירוש וירא כי אין איש? Rashi says, שאין איש עתיד לצאת ממנו שיתגייר. Why is Rashi taking the pasuk here out of the pshat? He saw that no one in the future is going to come out, and he killed him. So according to Chazal, he didn't kill him with a gun or a knife. He killed him with Shema Meforash. Where do you see a hint in the pasuk? Because by the next day, when he's trying to stop one Jew beating the other Jew, the other one says, Haleogeni ata omer. Look at the pasuk. Haleogeni ata omer kasher haragta et hamitzri. He should have, this fellow should tell him, Haleogeni ata rotze. Do you want to kill me as you killed yesterday the Egyptian? מה זה אתה אומר? אתה אומר, are you going to kill me with the same weapon that you killed yesterday the Egyptian? Says the Rav of Brisk, why is Rashi saying that Moshe Rabbeinu has to be sure that in the future nothing good will come out of this Egyptian? This week we saw in Gemara Sanhedrin that if a Gentile is beating a Jew, it's chayav mita. When we looked in the Rambam says, Aval ein bedin memitim oto. Chayav mita means it's a punishable by death, but in reality we would not kill him, which means that when Moshe is going to kill him here, he has to kill him b'dinei shamayim, not b'dinei adam, because ein bedin memitim oto. When you kill someone b'dinei shamayim, you have to examine his future. If a grandson or someone special will come out of him, cannot kill him. This is why Rashi is adding here. This is why Rashi is adding here that Ra'a ki ein ish. I mean, you realize this entire story here. If you think about it, yes, Paro is frightened because of the astrologist. He makes an can you imagine Kol Abena Ilod Ayor Tashlichu? Moshe is saved by his daughter, raised by him. And he runs away when he knows how to run a country, as his mentor Paro was teaching him. When he comes to Midian, the Pasuk says something very interesting.
Rabbi, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm listening, yes.
Is it like a similar story to Ovadia in the house of Achav, that he was the one that kept all the Nevi'im?
Right. But over there, you're right. But over there, you know, Ovadia was a prophet also. In Trei Asar, you have one chapter Ovadia. And the chapter begins, Chazon Ovadia, Ko Amar Hashem le'Edom. So the Gemara says like this, there's an interesting Gemara. Yavo Ovadia, שגדל בין שני רשעים, אחאב וניזבל, ולא למד ממעשיהם, he was not influenced by them, and he is the one to prophesy against Esav, שגדל בין שני צדיקים גמורים, יצחק and רבקה, and he didn't learn from them. See, what you see over there was that if a man has very strong convictions, he might be the CEO of a terrible king and a queen, she more than him. Still, here, obviously Moshe got some ideas who his family is and who his nation is. Otherwise, מה זה ויגדל משה ויצא לך וירא בסבלותם? How does he know? How does he know that he has to help them? Most likely, he didn't have any secret, meetings with his family. I have to say, as you see in Tanakh very often, that even from a young age, some people were very, very developed. But again and again, remember, this is the main message, and the main message is the only details we know about Moshe, besides the fascinating story, is the man leaves his palace, goes out to feel and see the pain. He interferes and he kills an Egyptian. He's rebuking a Jew. He's coming to Midian to help the daughters of Yitro. But the Torah is showing us that the basics of a real Jewish leader is how much he cares for others. How much is he willing to go out of his comfort zone? If you think about it, yes, ומשה היה רואה, look a second at the פסוקים. משה היה רואה צאן, look in the 308, 300. ומשה היה רואה צאן יטרוך אותו, ועל מדם וינהג את הצאן אחר המדבר, he made sure that they are not grazing on any people's property, and he bumps into Chorev. Vayar Malach Hashem, this is the famous revelation. A Malach appears to him through the snare. והנה הסנה בוער באש, והסנה איננו קר. Okay, all the commentators look at the snare as the history of the Jewish people. The snare is one of the lowest bushes, burning and burning and burning, ve'einenu kal. In history, we are the longest nation despite all the suffering, all the pogroms and etc. ויאמר משה אסור נא ואראה את המראה הגדול הזה, מדוע לא יבער הסנה? Remember that until this moment, Moshe never had any direct communication with Hashem. Now that he comes near the snare, וירא השם כי שר לראות, ויקרא אליו אלוקים מתוך הסנה, ויאמר משה משה, ויאמר הנני. ויאמר אל תקרא בעלום, don't come nearby, של נעליך מעל רגליך, כי המקום אשר אתה עומד עליו אדמת קודשים. Why did Hashem tell him to take his shoes off? You realize, says the Abarbanel, many commentators say the same. Kippur, we take the shoes off. In Beit HaMikdash, says the Abarbanel, if you come to visit, you have to take your shoes off. The Kohanim are performing the services barefoot. Hashem yishmerenu itam of avilut, shoes off. Tisha B'Av, shoes off. Says the Shla and the Abarbanel, listen what he says. Every morning when we say the Birkot HaShachar, Pokeach Ivrim, Malbish HaRomim, we make a bracha she'asali kol tzorki. Shulchan Aruch and the Rambam, it's a Gemara, bring it. When you put your shoes on, say she'asali kol tzorki. A leather shoe is a symbol of the powers that God gave human beings. If I have a leather shoe, I have the right to kill an animal to have a shoe. She'asali kol tzorki. The shoe symbolizes how Hashem created the world to serve the people. when you come to the presence of Hashem in Beit HaMikdash, take off the shoes that symbolizes the power you have. On Yom Kippur, Lifnei Hashem, we are Lifnei Hashem for 25 hours, take off your shoes. In time of Aveilut, a person feels beaten up. This is the feelings you have when you lose close relatives. Take off your shoes. Shal na'alecha me'al raglecha. Here, this is the first time. The shoe that symbolizes the power that you have, take it off.
It's sort of like a Hasidic bitul.
Like, yes. If you think about it, I saw in the afternoon today, this is very interesting. If you want to be a leader, take your shoes off. This is where you feel the small pebbles on the street. A real leader cannot sit in a bunker, in a palace, in a car, in a plane, and give orders to others. A real leader has to feel the pain of others. The first lesson Hashem is giving him is Shal na'alecha me'al raglecha. Get out of your comfort. Feel with people. Okay, this is the Moshe Rabbeinu. Bezrat Hashem will continue tomorrow morning. If you want, there is much more in the Perasha, of course. Now, how much snow are they expecting? Do they have any real prediction for Shabbat?
I didn't hear.
It'd
Be good weather, Rabbi Prague. It's a simcha. How could you have some rain?
No, I'm definitely going to be there by hook, but I'm saying, if it snows in Brooklyn, as
Three to
Not supposed to snow a lot, Rabbi.
okay.
Nothing crazy.
Okay, but if anything happens and I'm not in Sharet Zion, we'll learn Sunday morning on Zoom. But as Salim says, the likelihood is close to zero. Baruch Hashem.
Not zero. You're gonna get an inch, but not enough to change anything.
Now, okay, you mean
Not gonna
an inch is not,
Right.
especially
You're gonna get an inch, maybe
especially
two.
especially on the highway. On the highway, it's not a big deal because it's melting right away.
So that it's supposed to rain. It's supposed to snow in the beginning Saturday and then rain the rest of the way. So it's never gonna stick on the ground.
Okay, Yofi, today
Especially this Shabbos, it's going to be be'ito, Rabbi Prague.
Amen, amen. Bezrat Hashem, we'll see each other tomorrow.
See you in the
And
morning.
next Shabbat, we have a bar mitzvah of my
Grandson.
grandson.
That's tough.
Laila Tov, thank you very much.
Rabbi, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Laila
night.
Tov, everyone.
Good night.
Laila Tov, Laila Tov, Laila Tov. Laila Tov.